Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is again a privilege to stand in this place as an advocate, as a servant of the people of the great constituency, special people of East Grand Bahama. I want to very quickly, Mr. Deputy, also offer my sincere condolences to the family of Clarence Poitier, who lived in East Grand Bahama, Fritz Thompson, also Jim White, and also Andre Wilmot. All of them made significant contributions to not just East Grand Bahama, but also to the island of Grand Bahama. And our thoughts and our prayers are with their families. Mr. Deputy, there are defining moments in a country's history. Many times these moments are positive and inspirational. Some moments, though, they cause the nation to pause. Today, the Bahamas is facing an unprecedented crime crisis. 17 murders and even more shootings in the first 24 days of this country can be described no other way. Mr. Deputy, every Bahamian has a right to live free from the fear of crime and violence. I believe that in these past few days, the fear of crime has hit an all-time high. And yes, the Ombudsman bill is important, and I will speak to it. However, it is my belief that the government actions need the same level, or need to meet the same level as their rhetoric. For this crisis, we need all hands on deck. Yes, you may be able to skip, walk, and chew gum at the same time. But Bahamians on our street are literally running for their lives in this crisis. I want to say, though, Mr. Deputy, that I commend the police, I commend the Defense Force, I commend all law enforcement officers, I commend the prosecutors, teachers, pastors, all community leaders who are fighting the good fight in this crisis. They are all working extremely hard. But you know, Mr. Deputy, it is amazing that once you are elected to office, sometimes it appears as though you have all the answers. But when you leave office, you don't have any answers. None are true. I do not accept the stance that Freetown has taken. All is not well. Nope. And I challenge all of us, to do even more.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Freetown.
Deputy Speaker, Freetown never suggested that all is well.
Okay.
Freetown suggested that there's a problem that we need to not only talk about, but act. Freetown challenged the other side, just like churches and civic groups are coming up with programs, and the government is coming up with programs, that they can do so. Freetown made it quite clear that this government doesn't think that it's the only one that should be addressing this problem. Freetown looks forward to the first intervention program that will be advanced by the other side.
Thank you, honourable member.
Thank you, Mr. On another occasion, I'll engage you in terms of the intervention programs that the Free National Movement has done. I'll let you know all the programs that we have done. But Mr. Deputy, the FNM has made detailed recommendations that the leader articulated this morning. They were short-term actions and medium-term actions. We still need a greater police presence in hotspot areas. They are working, they are in those areas, but we still need a greater presence in those areas. We still need a gun amnesty to seek to remove guns, more guns off our streets. We still need more action in our justice system to bring trials on quicker and to tackle the bail issue. We still need even more government-led and coordinated positive organized activities in our communities, parks, street corners, churches, schools. We need even more of these kinds of activities on our streets. We need even more CCTV coverage on hotspot areas, more economic grants for young people that includes training, youth programs, youth apprenticeship programs. Yes, we have them, but we need even more of them. We need even more personal development and conflict resolution. This should be, if it is not already done so, it should be mandatory in all of our high schools. We need even more counseling for families who are victims of crime. On the matter of retaliation, we need to continue to address the matter of retaliation. We need to bring even more focus and empowerment and more expansion on neighborhood watch groups. But Mr. Deputy, I want to speak a little bit about the Ombudsman bill. I first learned of this concept when I was in law school, taking the constitutional administrative law. And this concept about a ombudsman was first introduced to myself. Someone who hears complaints on behalf of the people, particularly against the government. The objects of our bill is to investigate any administrative action of an authority for the purpose of deciding whether there is evidence of maladministration. And maladministration is specifically defined in the bill. A, as unreasonable delay in dealing with the subject matter of an investigation. B, abuse of any power, including any discretionary power. Or C, an administrative action that was contrary to law, unfair, oppressive, or improperly discriminatory, or based on procedures that are unfair, oppressive, or improperly discriminatory. Or 3, based wholly or partly on a mistake of law or fact or irrelevant grounds related to the application of arbitrary or unreasonable procedures. Well, Mr. Deputy, there are many issues today that our country face that I believe if an ombudsman was in place would be valid complaints that could be made against this government to an ombudsman. I believe one of the first complaints that could be made is oppressive taxation. The PLP administration has now moved to suspend their rushed increase of fees on recreational and commercial boat owners. These fees were implemented without consultation, ignoring the human impact on small fishermen and on the cost of doing business, and thus retail prices of marine products sold to the average Bahamian kitchen table. This is what I call homegrown, self-inflicted inflation. And Mr. Deputy, yes, of course, all Bahamians traveling internationally will have to pay an additional $2 in ticket taxes to cover the so-called tourism enhancement levy. However, it is when taken together with the rise of VAT on medication and the rise of VAT on breadbasket items, and it is also taken together with the high cost of electricity, and then taken together with the overall high inflation, that the situation becomes serious, and I believe could form a legitimate complaint to an ombudsman. We also understand from the country's financial secretary, as reported in the press, that the government is planning or on imposing a brand new tax on all air freight. We on this side vehemently oppose any such additional fee or tax on the Bahamian people. We also cannot forget the increase that's coming for national insurance that will come into effect come July of this year. On another question of maladministration, there is the issue of the $500 million loan that was taken out recently by Ministry of Finance. The opposition notes the government's recent release regarding the $500 million loan facility it garnered with the support of the Inter-American Development Bank. The Ministry of Finance statement on the matter, however, fails any reasonable measure of transparency or clarity. The government only has budgetary approval from Parliament to take $131 million in new net borrowing. So Parliament gave the government approval to borrow $131 million in new net borrowing. Not to roll over, but new net borrowing. So we ask, what is the planned use of the $500 million loan? The government must provide specific details on the use and drawdown schedule of the loan facility. Mr. Deputy, in no universe can a democratic government commit the Bahamian people to a $500 million worth of debt without telling us what are the interest rates, what are the fees, what are the penalties, what are the terms of this loan. If the transaction is not complete or the terms are not yet known, then why claim that the transaction was finalized in the release? Their release claimed that the loan was closed. The financial secretary has said that these funds cannot be used to pay rollover debt, which means you can't borrow money to pay off an old loan. You can't take on a new loan to pay off an old loan. Well, this again raises even more questions, because if you only have permission of approval to borrow 131, but you borrowed 500 over 10 years, but it is not going to be used for rollover, then what is the situation with respect to this loan? Mr. Deputy, there's no circumstance that I understand that you can close a $500 million, $500 million in debt without telling the Bahamian people what are the terms upon you borrowing this money. Mr. Deputy, what about the central bank loan that the government had to come back to Parliament to change the law to legalize their illegal act? Sounds like maladministration to me.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Freetown.
Apart from the fact that the member for East Grand Bahama is making a powerful case for our lack of fear in putting in place an officer who could investigate free of charge for them all of these alleged maladministration. The position of the government and the actual word in the statute is for the avoidance of doubt, and it was explained ad nauseum. The doubt had arisen because what the government says is a fallacious interpretation of the law. And we accept that they have a different position than we do, but to suggest that it's done from our part, motivated to do that, is actually misleading. And where they have a complaint that their view is right, I guess one would say, thank God that we are putting this gentleman in place or lady in place who can help them try to vindicate all of these. Because as I say, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the thing about the Ombudsman is you can make a complaint and he can tell you it has merit, or he can tell you it has no merit.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy. Mr. Deputy, this is a government that has claimed to engage in PPP arrangements, to undertake a manner or any manner of public sector infrastructure. But not one agreement has been disclosed to the public. We have asked that the government document, table, let us know what policy they are entering into with respect to PPPs. The F&M table, their policy on PPPs. Now, it is their right to change it, but they have to tell the people what the policy is. But they have refused to provide to the public what their policy is on PPPs. These PPPs seem to be nothing more than just off-the-book loans where the vendor borrows the money at an undisclosed interest rate, and the government pays this interest rate plus more. Mr. Deputy, if there is one area of severe maladministration, it has been the way in which the PLP has been treating small and medium-sized Bahamian businesses. Bahamian businessmen and entrepreneurs from my constituency and from across the Bahamas have complained to me on a daily basis about the seemingly arbitrary rules and taxes and procedures being levied on them by a government that seems to want to make it harder, not easier, to do business in the Bahamas. Mr. Deputy, it is really inexplicable what we have been witnessing. We have even the Prime Minister, who himself had called out publicly his own finance and revenue agencies for their unreasonable requirements and approach to small Bahamian businesses. Now, true to form, it only amounted to the typical PLP-style talk and rhetoric because the situation never improved. But even the PM, I believe, has to understand that he and his team were not making it easier for Bahamians and for Bahamian businesses in our country. Mr. Deputy, both in the formal press and on social media, the Chamber of Commerce, who is the chief representative of the private sector, has publicly complained time and time again. We have seen complaint after complaint over outrageous business license renewal requirements, a brand new and confusing online business license portal that was launched at the busiest time of the year for business license renewal, and about the challenges of getting anything done and advanced in the public sector. Small business owner Pamela Burnside, she penned a letter to the editor of the Tribune that made the following observation. And I quote, she said, "It is already 3 weeks into a new year, and if you go on social media, you will see constant posts from completely frustrated business owners trying to figure out what to do since phones are not answered, email queries languish in cyberspace, and the application deadline looms. Yet with an army of public relations specialists, the government has issued not one formal statement on the issues being faced by hundreds and hundreds of Bahamian business owners who are trying to do the right thing. They are trying to pay their taxes. They are trying to apply to renew their business license. They are applying to do what the government requires them to do. But the government is not making it easy for them to do so. No statement, no apology, no timelines on when all of the outstanding matters will be resolved. Silence. As they say, mum's the word. Mr. Deputy, we had a story in the Tribune on Monday, January 22nd, where established realtors complained of up to 6-fold increase in time to close real estate transactions. Imagine the negative effects on commerce, on economic activity, and the ongoing development by causing land transactions to take even longer. These realtors, like so many others, are pointing out that there is no ease of doing business efforts happening under this government. It has become harder and not easier to conduct business in the Bahamas. When this Ombudsman office is established, he or she and their staff will be overwhelmed with legitimate complaints because of a government that simply ignores the law when it is inconvenient, and also that pays no attention to the improving workflow and processes that flow to benefit Bahamians who have to engage the state. Mr. Deputy, there is, though, a troubling matter that I wish to raise in Grand Bahama. We're extremely troubled, having recently learned of the Margaritaville that will no longer be selling one-way tickets or round-trip tickets originating from Grand Bahama. So for those who may not be familiar with this way of travel, it is similar to the Balearia, where Bahamians are able to take a boat, and they're able to travel from Grand Bahama to West Palm Beach. And then they are also able to take that same boat back from West Palm Beach back to Grand Bahama. It takes longer than the Balearia. Balearia takes a couple of hours, but the Margaritaville travels overnight. But Bahamians were previously able to buy a ticket, leaving from Freeport, travel to West Palm, get off in West Palm, and then return from the West Palm and get off in Grand Bahama. As of January, the Margaritaville has stopped selling tickets to Bahamians leaving from Grand Bahama. But not only have they stopped selling tickets from Grand Bahama, but they also have seemingly stopped allowing Bahamians, because it's predominantly Bahamians who this will affect, but they have stopped Bahamians from purchasing a round-trip ticket if they are leaving from West Palm Beach and only using half of that ticket. When I spoke to a travel agent, the travel agent told me that they were informed to inform people that if they do not travel back on that ship back to West Palm Beach, they will be blacklisted and they will not be sold another ticket. That's fine. I mean, if you want to say that, then please, by all means, tell us what's happening with
The
it.
chair recognizes the honorable member for Freetown.
That sounds like the event that happened with American Airlines, who, if you do not travel the whole circuit, they not only cancel your ticket, they put a greater cost on you because of the economics of it. East Grand Bahama raises the point. I'm just saying that I've read something similar being done by airline companies now to force you to travel the full circuit so that they don't travel back with an empty vessel. I don't know if that is the explanation for it. He can certainly make inquiry. It seems to me, on the surface of it, that if the airlines have started doing it, it's only a matter of time before the other transportation providers follow.
Thank you, honorable member.
So I hear the member for Freetown, and I would invite the member for Freetown to find out for us whether that's the reason, but I doubt it. I doubt it because in every other instance of travel that I'm aware of, when you are able to purchase a one-way ticket. Now, it's going to be more expensive to purchase the one-way ticket, but in every instance of travel, when you are leaving Grand Bahama and you are traveling to the United States, you are able to purchase a one-way ticket going, or you are able to purchase a one-way ticket coming. What is different about this is if you are allowed to purchase a ticket from West Palm Beach, a two-way ticket, you are only allowed to purchase that from West Palm Beach, come to Freeport, and travel back to West Palm. And they will say to you, if you get off, not that they will penalize you, because I think Bahamians don't have a difficulty. If you tell me I have to purchase a two-way ticket, fine, I'll buy a two-way ticket. But if you tell me that if I purchase a two-way ticket and I don't use the other side of that ticket, you will not sell me another ticket, something's wrong with that. Something's very wrong with that. And so I think I would invite, and I believe the member for Exuma is aware of it. I'm sure the member for West Grand Bahama is aware of it. I'm sure the member for Pine Ridge is aware of it. And so I would invite Margaritaville. I would invite them to take a look at that, because it seems to me to be discriminating against Bahamians. That's what it seems to me to be. Because at one point you could do it. At one point you could travel, you could buy a half a ticket, you could travel when you wanted to travel, come in or go in. And it was a very convenient way also, because they had packages where you can load up your goods and you could travel with your goods. You could use your exemption when you arrive there. And so it was a very convenient way of people traveling. But they seem to have now put a stop to Bahamians being able to travel on the Margaritaville. And nothing has been said publicly by Margaritaville about what their reasoning was for changing this. And nothing has also been said by the government as to what the government's position, because as I understand it, when we were there, and this may have changed or not, but the Margaritaville was receiving assistance with marketing support, and I'm just saying, when I was there, they were receiving assistance from the government for marketing support. I don't know whether that is continuing, but if it is continuing, then even more so, the government should be able to look at this from the Bahamians' perspective and look to see what the situation is, why is it being done, and so on.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Freetown.
While I don't vouch for knowing what the U.S. law is, it would appear that this particular company indicated that due to U.S. customs and immigration laws, they couldn't offer that fare. That would be a matter of fact, statement of the foreign law or not, but certainly they have customs and immigration
I would
law.
invite you
All
speak to your
I say,
colleagues
Mr. Deputy,
before you make any statements
no, I'm,
on
th-
this.
if
Just,
I'm-
that's all I'm saying.
If I may
would invite
finish,
you to
Mr.
speak,
Deputy
speak to your
Speaker.
colleagues. That's all.
If I may, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the question of you don't know why they say they're doing it doesn't appear to be accurate. Whether you accept their explanation is a different question. But they appear to have given an explanation which can be accurate or inaccurate. But it's not accurate to say they have not given a reason. You may say you accept that it's the case that U.S. law prohibits the sale of one-way tickets, and you could be correct that they're wrong in what they say, but you cannot say that they didn't tell you why they did it.
Thank you, honorable member.
I leave it there, Mr. Deputy, because again, we are asking for the government's position with respect to what efforts they are making to deal with or to answer that particular question. Because again, the company could decide to do what it likes, but what is the government's position with respect to how the company is deciding on those things? So, Mr. Deputy, as I said, East Grand Bahama supports the bill. East Grand Bahama supports the idea that there is a person who is appointed to hear complaints by the people and free of charge. And we believe that there are any number of complaints that, once this comes into effect, will make up legitimate complaints for the Ombudsman. Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy.
Thank you, honorable member. As many